Hey everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to fast forward a bit from 1984 and we're going to go to like 1987, 1988-ish, right around there. We're going to talk about G.L.O.W, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. um, yes, I'm aware of the movie, or the TV shows on Netflix. I watched both seasons. Yes, I'm aware of all that stuff. That's not what I'm going to be talking about. I'll give you my 2 cents on it, but that's not going to be the main focus. Main focus is the real Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and I'm going to touch a little bit on Powerful Women of Wrestling, and kind of there was not a confusion for me back then. I kind of got it, but I started out with G.L.O.W, and then I moved into POW, and ended up liking POW better. And I'll tell you why, and we'll get to all that stuff. So, again, I'm not going to show anything from the show or from the TV show because it's really hard to find the episodes. There are a few best of DVD compilations of some of the various seasons and episodes. I don't own any of them. I don't really want to go buy them. I would rather. I don't know why they haven't done this, especially with the popularity of that TV show, and then they did a documentary and all this stuff on G.L.O.W. I'm surprised that nobody's ever just went down and grabbed all of the episodes, if they still even exist, grabbed all the episodes from the very pilot and just released the entire complete series on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. They were shot on video, so, just like old wrestling, of regular men's wrestling, all wrestling, midget wrestling. It all was shot on video, but I'm assuming there's some master tape somewhere, especially with Dave McClain. He's still going today. He's got, I can't remember what it's called now. It's just Women of Wrestling, I think. I don't know why he doesn't use the G.L.O.W name. Obviously, somebody owns that name. And then when they did, I think there was also some legal issues when that TV show was made, the one on Netflix. So that's fine. They don't have to call it that now. I watched a couple episodes of the new stuff with McClain, and it kind of has the same feel of the old G.L.O.W, but at the same time it doesn't. I think the biggest thing is that it's just too new. It just doesn't have the 80s feel, which, is... I don't think when G.L.O.W was making G.L.O.W, and it wasn't self-aware. It was what it was, and it came out in that time period, so it's going to look like that time period, and that's when I discovered it. And obviously, as a teenager, when I discovered it, and yeah, so I have a lot of nostalgia for that specific time period. So I prefer to watch the original episodes. I don't really care to watch the new stuff. Most of the girls that I liked were all from that time period. So what I did find, and I will share some visuals, is I found the G.L.O.W magazine. I believe there's only 6 issues, so there's not a lot of information on how many issues were actually published, but I found 6 issues, and they seem to coincide when I had them. I didn't have all 6 issues here. I had like 4 of them. And I bought them right off the news rack, or off the newsstand. There was a party store right outside the trailer park there on the corner of John R. and Avon there. And on the corner was this, it was kind of like at an angle. It was weird. I think they had a dirt parking lot too. It was really weird. It was like this 2-story, looked like an old saloon, but it was a party store. And Arabic guys owned the place, Obviously, if my dad was around, he'd say it's another camel jockey place. But anyways, I used to walk up there, obviously, they had pizza. They had good pizza. They owned a pizza place, too. I got a story about that, but it doesn't really pertain to this stuff. But anyways, I used to go up there all the time. On the way up to Winchester Mall, I usually stop there and grab a pop and a slice of pizza. Anyways, I had a magazine rack, and they had a lot of adult magazines in there too, which is funny because when I'd go in there, and I looked over the magazine rack, and they had G.L.O.W magazine, and I bought it, and the guys never asked me because you didn't need to be 18 to buy it. It wasn't you weren't buying, you know, an adult magazine. You were buying a wrestling magazine. And nobody ever asked, you know, nobody said anything. That, you know, they just kind of, and I was just, but I felt like that, like, oh, I'm buying something I shouldn't. And that kind of goes into the whole thing here with the, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. Feeling that, you know, in retrospect, I think it was a rush. You know, at the time it was terrifying. And that was, you know, when I discovered it. So I guess so I'm going to go through in a minute I'll pull up the magazines. I got them all on PDF. You can get them on the archive website. You know, I've been going through them and looking at it. It's kind of funny. I've been watching too. I'm sitting down watching some of the episodes. You can get some matches, some episodes on YouTube. Not really any consistent order. A lot of stuff videotaped off VHS, bad VHS. And I'll get to that too, because that also is part of the nostalgia. Yeah, I mean, last night I was watching some. I literally felt like my dad had just given me a couple of tapes. You know, I was at my dad's, and he's like, "Hey, I taped G.L.O.W, so I'll get to my dad and the whole situation." So, obviously, you know, if you watch my AWA video, you know that, you know, my dad got me into wrestling back in like 83, 82, 83, right around there somewhere. And he was into it since he was younger, you know, back to the days of, you know, Dick the Bruiser and all that stuff. So, anyways, he was watching, or I was watching something late at night, and I came up, and I was flipping through the channels, and I believe this wasn't on cable. It couldn't have been, because I watched it at my mom's on my black and white, but it was on channel 56, I think, back in, like, literally 1987. I was flipping through the channels, and this would have been late 87, like into the winter, because I remember most of my G.L.O.W watching happened in like 88, 89. Most of it was 88. You know, most things, I seem to be into things pretty heavily for like a year, and obviously simultaneously things at the same time, but I'd need something about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and I'd kind of just forget about it or just move on to something else. That's why, you know, I never really stayed with anything for a very long period of time. I mean, all the classic stuff too, you know, all the cartoons and the toys and all that stuff. I kind of like got bored of it after like a year and went on something new. Anyways, so I was flipping through the channels and I come across an episode of G.L.O.W. I'm like, what is this? I thought it was just wrestling, you know, like Western, as my dad, Western Division Wrestling. I thought it was just some wrestling, and they just had female wrestlers on there. But it had this weird feel to it. It had like, it was very neon-y and pink. Obviously, it was the set at the Riviera. And I was watching it, I was like, well, this doesn't look like WWF, and it doesn't look like NWA or AWA. What is this? And so I checked it out, and I said, hey, I walked, you know, at the time I went to my dad, and I said, hey, Dad, I said, watch, I said, check this out. And he goes, what is this? And I go, it's women's wrestling, but I don't know, it's not WWF. And he's like, huh. So he's like, let me grab the cable guide. So he grabbed the cable guide, and it wasn't in the cable guide. I said, no, it's on channel 56. It's not even on cable. He's like, really? He's like, so he grabbed the other, my dad he loved his Sunday newspapers and all his guides. So he grabbed the TV guide, and he looked it up, and he goes, it's called G.L.O.W, Gorgeous Women of Wrestling. I said, yeah, that's what it says behind the ring there. And then we started watching it, and then they had like little skits and stuff like that, and I'm like, huh. I said, it's strangely addictive. My dad liked anything with young, good-looking girls in it, right? He loved his women's wrestling too, trust me. He loved his Wendy Richter. It was his favorite wrestler. Wendy. He said, Wendy's on. Yes, my dad was creepy, and that's why I'm creepy. But anyways, we were watching the show, and then my dad goes, well, I think I'm going to start taping this. I think it's on Sunday. It was for me, when I caught it, it was on Sunday night, and they aired it at 11:30 at night. I remember the reason I knew that was because I was at my dad's house overnight on Sunday, not going to school on Monday, because and I remember it was snowing out, or it was cold. I don't know if it was snowing. And it wasn't Christmas yet of '87. But anyways, it was because my dad had moved. It was a weird situation. My dad moved from one trailer to another trailer, kind of a weird situation. But anyways, I didn't have to go to school the next day, so I was going to stay over one more night and go back on Monday. So that's how I caught it. I probably would have caught it at home, maybe, but maybe I won't. Maybe I would have. I don't know. Maybe not. At home, I'm back at my mom's. It's funny. I still say that with my son. It's like, hey, you gonna get ready to go home? It's like, this is your home too. But I don't know. For some reason, I always think when you go back to your mom's, you're going back home. You're going to dad's. You're going to Disney World. you're going to Never Never Land. Just like went to my dad's house. It was Never Never Land. Anyways, so and that kind of plays into this too as well, because he. So my dad started taping it, and of course, if you know, as I told you in a lot of the episodes, or a lot of the videos, I mentioned my dad and his recording tendencies. It was a lot of, you'd get the show, he'd always end up recording it about 5 seconds after the intro starts, and periodically throughout the show, he would, when it goes to commercial, he would end up turning over either A, to check the ball game scores, or he would go check, or he'd watch another show at the same time. So or he'd check the news. I don't know how many episodes of everything that I had that were interspliced with episodes of Married with Children. But anyways, so my dad would tape that, and then so when I went back to my mom's, it's like hard because I wanted to stay up to 11:30 on a Sunday night. Again, I really didn't have any set schedule. My parents never really enforced any kind of bedtime. I would do it myself. It's like I want to go. I want to get enough sleep, so I would fall asleep at 10 to get up at 6. But on Sunday nights, this actually started to happen too as I got into Dave Letterman too. On Sunday, I would come back from my dad's in the afternoon. Mom is still, who knows where she's at. I'd come home. And then about 6 o'clock, I would go to sleep, or try to fall asleep. And then I would wake back up at 11:30. And I had the black and white 13-inch with the coat hanger for the antenna at the foot of my bed on this little TV stand. And anyways, I would turn it on. But you had to turn it on, because you turn it on, it's the volume button is also the on switch. I would turn it on, but not have any volume, right? I turn the volume really, really low. Don't ask me why I didn't just use a pair of headphones, but I didn't think that far ahead. Because I turned up very low because I didn't want my mom to A, know I'm awake, and B, I didn't want to know what I was watching. Because I literally felt like I was watching, porn in my bedroom. It's like I can't let my mom know what I'm watching, and she didn't care, and she probably wouldn't have cared even if she even knew. She would have gotten me. Why are you up so late at night? Why'd you go to sleep so early? Because she'd eventually get home when I wake up. And anyways, I'd turn it on and I would watch it. And so I never really got a lot of the volume. I never really remember. When they did the skits and stuff like that, I would kind of turn it up to hear what they're saying. But then when it went back to the wrestling, I would kind of just turn it back down. Until I got to my dad's house. Then when I got to my dad's house, I could go back and watch all the episodes on that he'd recorded with interspliced with the ball game scores, news, and Married Children. Anyways, so yeah, I watched a lot of it, and the thing was here was the thing. So as I'll get into it here, but as the show progressed, I noticed that as the second season started, I didn't like it as much because a lot of the girls that I liked, with the exception of Hollywood, who was my favorite, started not showing up, and they got new people in, and I realized that a lot of them, they were shuffling them off to Powerful Ladies of Wrestling, which is also a Don McLean, or is that the guy that sings Bye Bye American Pie? Whatever his name, the McLean guy. He, is it Dan McLean? I can't remember. Donnie McLean. No, that Donnie McLean's the guy that sings Bye Bye American Pie. Anyways, I noticed I started catching POW, and I found POW. That was on cable. I don't think that was on regular TV. And I think my dad found it for me. He's like, hey, there's another one called POW. and we started taping the POW. And I started liking it better just because it had more of a... It seemed, even though it was cheesy, it didn't have the overt G.L.O.W cheesiness. It was a little bit more like watching regular wrestling. Because I felt the cheesiness. I mean, it's... Sure, now, looking back on it, it was charming, right? But at the time, you know, I was kind of like a little turned off by the cheesiness. So let's go over to the magazine just so you have some visuals here. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably know what G.L.O.W is. Well, I'm not way up. I'm still way up in the corner. It follows from the last video. Let me put me back down here. All right. So these are the 6 magazines. Like I said, I had the first issue. I had the second issue. I don't believe I had the third issue. I had the third issue. Definitely had the 4th issue. I remember buying that one. I mean, I remember buying the other ones too. I remember the day I bought this magazine. And then I had this issue, and I don't believe I had the last one, 6. And that's why I thought there was more magazines. So it's like, I know I didn't have them all, and I started seeing a couple of covers of ones that they didn't have, like this one and this one. And then when I looked it up, like, I guess there was only 6 magazines. So we'll pull up the first issue here. There's Hollywood right there on the cover. Now, see, this is 1988. This isn't when the show first started. And the reason you know that, because if you look at Hollywood's outfit, I didn't mind the lingerie-y outfit she wore, but I really liked the pink one she had. I really liked the pink outfit she had. So when she switched to this one, it's kind of like, eh. Because she also had those, she wore Tigra wrestling boots, too. Like real wrestling boots. Like you can tell, what's her face here? Is it Susie Spirit? Or is that, which one is that? Yeah, it's Susie Spirit. She's got the LA gears on. A lot of girls would just wear like LA gear. A lot of the outfits were like, this is kind of liked about the show. They're all kind of like, what do you call it? Aerobics outfits, almost like aerobics outfit / swimsuit / whatever. You know, some of them would have the socks and the leg warmers and stuff. I was obsessed with aerobics girls back in the day. Obsessed with them. Like I said, that 20-minute workout in the morning, I used to watch right about the same time too. I was addicted to watching that. I'd wake up early just to watch that. So anyways, obviously there's a lot of this going on in G.L.O.W, and that's probably what would definitely captivated, you know, a 40-plus-year-old adult man and his teenage son. But I haven't gone through and read this stuff in a while. Even the issues I didn't have. And like I said, I didn't have the first issue. No, I did have the first issue. That's right. So I probably read it back then. I haven't read it recently. It was kind of dumb. I was trying to look at the pictures, really. And again, I was an artist and drawing all the time. I wanted to draw all the people. Yeah, so some of it would be in black and white, some of it would be in color. There's a big full color spread of Susie Spirit. This is the girl that broke her. If you watch it, there's the footage of it. I think it was even in the episode where she, dislocated and broke her arm, like right at the elbow, and it's like sticking out. Not the bone wasn't sticking out, but like the inside the skin, it was like sticking out. And everything got real serious, and like, well, yeah, well, she's really hurt. That's why. Yeah. Obviously that stuff's going to happen periodically, but watching that was just like, oh, that's hard to watch. It's hard to watch real violence, or real injuries. But I kind of like Susie Spirit. She was rocking the thong big time. She was one of the girls that really rocked the thong, which is mesmerizing, but I kind of liked her at the same time. I kind of didn't. Is that the scene? Is that from the... Look at her. Susie, all the attitude, victories, and I think it's just some whatever. I thought that might have been when she broke her arm. She's fighting. It's Antash. I can't even say it. Antache right there. I think I watched this episode the other night too. So there was Susie Spirit. So now the other thing too, they would do the wrestling rap thing in the beginning. It was very cringy. And watching it now, it's hard to watch. It's just like, oh, this is really cringy. But it was part of the whole thing. Um, it's Vine. You can tell it's Vine down there from Hollywood and Vine. Yeah, Hollywood was my all-time favorite. Once I saw Hollywood, it was like, oh, she looked just like a girl who lived in my dad's trailer park. Not at the time, because he had moved from that trailer to another trailer, and she used to live in the corner. I'm not going to say her name, but anyways, she was like a probably 19, 20-year-old girl at the time, lived with her parents. Um, but she looked just like Hollywood. She reminded me of Hollywood. She had the same kind of hair, quasi Daisy Dukey, had Catherine Bach-ish, quasi Hollywood. But anyways, my dad was obsessed with her too, and I remember he ended up hiring her to come over to his new trailer and clean his trailer for him. He was paying her to clean his trailer. I'm sure he just wanted to pay to watch her. I kind of like watching her too. But anyways, of course, I was only 13 or 14 at the time. 14, I think. Debbie Debutante. You know what's crazy? She's not a good example, but the other thing that's weird is, this is what I find weird about like modern, what I don't like about a lot of modern wrestling, and I don't like about the modern look of girls, especially, whether they're on TV, or on YouTube or whatever, is it's the 80s, right? It's the era of excess, right? Their hair was crazy, they had more than mousse. She had Bullwinkle in her head. No, she had, their hairs were tons of hairspray, lots of Aquanet and stuff, and lots of makeup on. But they don't look overly made up. If it's weird, if you look at like makeup on women now, it's so thick and so overdone, and they all have the exact. It's all like they all went to the same girl at the Mary Kay counter or they're watching all the same, makeup tutorials. They all have that. I hate that new stupid, whatever wingtip thing on the end of their eyes, but all the girls now are watching. They all have the exact same makeup, so they all look the same because they put so much foundation on their face and just caked on the makeup, to get rid of all the imperfections. That they literally look. It doesn't look real, right? And they all look. Every girl looks the same. If they have blonde hair, they look just like this blonde-haired girl. Or if there's the brunette, they look just like this brunette girl. Back in the 80s, even with all the excess, everybody still looked distinctly different. And you gotta think, look, she's got makeup on her lips, right? She's got eye stuff on, right? But of that, she's not really overly made up. Sure, her hair's crazy, teased out. Actually, hers isn't over the top, but, that was the style back then. Hollywood wore a ton of makeup, but you could still tell it was her, because she has a distinct face. I can't remember. Is that what's here? Oh, it's what? Wait, was that Debbie Debutante? Oh, yeah, that's right. She had that other outfit. I was right. She had that outfit. She had the yellow outfit. But there's Hollywood's pink outfit. I like the pink outfit so much better. She's not wearing the what do you call it there? But she would sometimes, not all the time, but she would wear those black Tigra wrestling shoes. I just thought those were so cool. Rick Nielsen also wore the Tiger wrestling shoes. I had a pair of Tiger wrestling shoes. I like those shoes. So yeah. Oh, here we go. So now we're getting to what's her face, Colonel Ninotchka. I liked her, but I didn't like her all at the same time. Obviously, you're supposed to hate her because she's supposed to be the Russian. It's the 80s, right? It's Cold War. It's, everyone's kill a commie for mommy, all the t-shirts I used to wear. But at the same time, she was attractive. But she also seemed older than the other girls, which always kind of like, she looks a little older. And but she had the Brigitte Nielsen hair from Rocky IV, which was fairly new at the time. And the accent was god awful, but it was part of the shtick. And of course they make fun of that in the movie, or they make light of that in the movie in the G.L.O.W movie. So here's the other problem with the G.L.O.W movie, the G.L.O.W TV show. I also found I don't know why it was made. It's like, who is this for? Because it's like, it seemed like it was like made ironically, and it seemed like it was made like it was very everything that's always, especially when you're going back, like even Stranger Things. Everything's self-aware of the time period. And there's a lot of things they got right on it. There's a lot of things they got really wrong. I think overall, the show was fine. It was entertaining. I really liked the one girl, can't remember her name is. The girl was supposed to play She-Hulk, but ended up not showing, or rumored to play She-Hulk. I thought she would have been a pretty good She-Hulk. But the girl who plays the Russian version, I can't remember her name is in that show. So it's all vaguely based on the real G.L.O.W. There's a video you can watch too, where the actual G.L.O.W. girls give like their commentary about the TV show, what they think they got right and got wrong. Yeah, I don't know. But the show just came off to me as like very condescending almost. I guess it's not. I don't know if that's the word. Like I said, it was almost like, are you making fun of it for how stupid it was? I mean, sure it was stupid, but it just seems like they made it simply because it's like, oh, this is ironically funny because it's new humor, it's modern day humor. Where she's rocking the LA gears right there, the black LA. I always thought the black LA gears looked really cool. She's rocking the black LA gears right there. There's Holly. Okay, so there's a profile in Hollywood. So she was hot, but at the same time she was funny looking. Like her face looked very like, I don't know how to describe it. If you look at her now, she's still doing this stuff. Like she does it more like freelance, like underground stuff. But and she's like 54. I thought she was older than that. She's actually not that older than I was. So at the time when I was like 14, 15, she was 19 this time. But she's got like this weird face to her. And the thing is, nowadays she's obviously had a lot of work done, and she doesn't look like her anymore. It's like, I know you're going to look older, but this is like her nose. I don't know if she got a nose job, or like she had like these really round cheeks when she was young, but it's like the cheeks are gone. Nose, like the roundness to her nose, she almost like those, like kind of like whatever you call them, like round tip noses. That's gone. Obviously, she wears different makeup. She doesn't, because she's piled it on too and has modern day makeup. She doesn't do like the crimped hair and the weird, Hollywood. I think it'd be if she was going to do that shtick. I think she should bring back the character, but. Again, maybe she can't. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't own the rights to the character, so she has to do it. I mean, everybody knows it's Hollywood, but, it's not. She can't use that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I've heard a couple of interviews with her, like in the last 10 years. She talked a little bit about it, but not much. But yeah, see, she has a certain look to her. I don't know. Kind of can see it here. She has this round nose. She's a lot thinner than I remember her being thin, but I don't remember her. She's like really thin. I remember she was a little more curvier, not as curvy as Nanachka, but I thought she was curvier back then. I didn't realize how thin and kind of gangly she was. But it was a different time period. People had a different look. That's what's her face again. What her name is? Oh, the Southern Belle. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, they're all gorgeous. I mean, some of them were a little not good looking, but the ones who were gorgeous, they were gorgeous ladies wrestling. But certain looks I wasn't big fond of. I wasn't really big fond of this look. I like it now in retrospect because it reminds me of that time period, but back then I wasn't a big fan of this look. What's her face? I think she passed away. I don't know. In the documentary, she wasn't doing very good. And obviously, she, being that big and heavy like that most of her life, is not gonna bode well once you get your older years. But anyways, she was the Andre the Giant. She was like the big, lady who was, nobody could, defeat her because she was just so big. But young looking too. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, she was just a mountain over all the other girls. Because she was tall, too. She wasn't just big. She was tall. I think she's probably close to 6 foot. Maybe over 6 foot. it's hard to tell because if you look at like the female wrestlers now, you're like going, okay, that girl looks obviously bigger than the other girl. So like, yeah, but the other girl's like 5'1". So the other girl looks like she towers over. Yeah, she towers over at 5'11". It's like, all right, well, 5'10", and she looks like a monster compared to somebody who's 5 feet tall or 5'1". They always do. A lot of girls would do this weird thing. Anti-shape. They'd do that. They'd stiffen up whenever they get lifted up, like they're gonna get slammed. They do this like stiff thing. There's one cover's got the girl doing it. Like they'd stiffen up their legs. I don't know if that was just like a choice they decided to do, or it was just a way to kind of prevent getting injured, or make it, if somebody puts their hand in your crotch and lifts you up, it's probably not going to feel that great. When I was messing around trying to wrestle when I was a kid, wrestle like professional wrestling and stuff, I try to pick people up or pick me up, and it's just like you gotta like kind of find like a certain weird part of the leg to grab to kind of lift you up like that. But yeah, and then Ashka had a pretty decent figure on her too. The black tights were pretty cool. I like the black tights, those black LA gears. I thought that was always neat with the red top. And then, of course, remember, she's got the Bridget Nielsen haircut. Remember what I was saying in the He-Man video about everybody considers the short hair on a girl to either be, a lesbian haircut or or be mentally ill haircut. It's just like, whatever. Girls have had short hair for years. I mean, Sally Duncan, that's kind of the Sally. Bridget Nielsen had that hair, rocking hair. I find it attractive. I think it's attractive. I don't have to always have giant, super long hair to find a girl attractive. I know a lot of dudes do. Seems like a lot of like older dudes or like wealthy, rich dudes. Rich dudes. I tell you, my taste in women and rich dudes' taste in women are completely, like, almost the exact opposite. It's more trivia time, blah, blah, blah. At least Hollywood did it. At least I don't like that. I mean, you'd think, oh, she's got the lingerie on, it's a more hotter outfit. She did the spike collar, though. I just wasn't a big fan of, I like the pink one, the all pink one, the full, because it was like a full leotard that looked her. See what I mean? Of her face, she's got a weird look to her. That's all that neighbor girl had. She had that weird kind of look to her. It's hard to describe. You might know what I'm talking about. Tara. Is that? I can't remember who this is. I don't remember Tara. There's what's her? She also was like the other giant. She was the bad girl giant, and she also, I don't know, I think she might have passed away too. Obviously, she going into her old age didn't fare very well, being that out of shape. That's the thing. See, the whole body shaming thing, or whatever. It's like, big is beautiful and all that stuff, and all the. It's just like, yeah, but if you stay like that, I have no room to talk. I'm not in great shape either, But I mean, obviously, with women, their weight's it's a bit more of a concern than it is with a dude. To some extent, I think a dude also has issues with weight. I don't think people realize that. And they have lots of body positivity issues, but I don't think people care about what men think. But women, on the other hand, they're more concerned about it. And so in that, but yeah, it's like if you really are encouraging women to stay big and beautiful, right? It's just like you're not going to age well, and when you do, you're going to have a lot of serious health complications. And I don't understand the mentality of that. It's like, I mean, it's no brain. I mean, why are both the women that were big on the show? Were they both, gimped up when they're older? I know they're doing physical stuff a lot. What I'm just saying is a lot of these bigger women like this, they get into their, 60s, 70s, and maybe they even make it to their 80s. They're all effed up. It's same thing with the dudes, too. I'm looking at King Kong Bundy. I mean, a lot of the guys that were big, I'm sure she's dead. I'm sure that's her fate. Aunt Kitty's dead. But a lot of the big dudes, too, I mean, they didn't make it very long. Andre the Giant, as big as he was, I mean, he wasn't, of course, he didn't take care of himself very good. But, I mean, they weren't long for this world. And like I said, I can appreciate Ninotchka now as a, an older guy. But at the time, I wasn't sure if I liked her, but now I really like her. I liked her character, too. And again, this is why we watch the show right here. For the most part. It was the what do you call it? You were lying to yourself to believe that you were watching the show for any other merit, but when it came down to it, you just wanted to see a lot of this. And there were a lot of that in the show. I'm only going to make it through one of the magazines. I just got to kind of I probably won't go through every magazine. Maybe I'll hit one of the other ones up. And there's the Riviera there. So it was all taped down. Well, most of it was taped down at the Riviera Hotel in Las Vegas. Because they would show up at the Riviera Hotel. Glow, gorgeous ladies are wrestling. But there's a great documentary. I suggest go watch the documentary. It's on YouTube. I'm sure I think it's on Netflix. I think it's where it started, was on Netflix. And it's got a lot of the girls, later on in life. And they talk about, how it was going on. At the time, no one knew about like all the behind the scenes stuff. But it's very interesting how the whole thing went down. And they kind of touched on a lot about it in the TV show too, the G.L.O.W TV show. They didn't get into it like in super heavy detail, but they kind of were talking about how it was done. I was like, almost like, you take all these young girls who are like 19, 20 years old, and then it's like, they're going to be, they're doing this stuff, for a job. And of course, they're going to be 19, 20-year-old girls. So in order to keep them from kind of going out of control, they really like put, like, it was almost like, like a summer camp where it's like almost like boot camp, or like what do you call it, basic training. They really put like a lot of like rules, and they had a curfew and all this other weirdness. It was kind of strange. That part of it's interesting now. We didn't know nobody knew anything about that back in the day. I think these are the posters. Yeah, they came with posters too. I had the posters up in my room once in a while. I remember my mom going, "What's that poster of? What are these women? They're wrestlers, Mom." Oh, and then she just walked out of the room. But let's go to another mag here. Let's see. Let's grab. I won't go through all of them. Let's grab this one just because I don't know why this one pops up. I mean, I guess like a couple of reasons why it pops out in my head. One of the reasons why is, like I said, I remember going that day to get a issue. Well, I didn't go specifically to get an issue of G.L.O.W. I would just go to hit the magazine rack when I'd stop to get pizza and a pop. And if they had a new issue of G.L.O.W. and I had money in my pocket, I'd usually end up buying it. I think they were like, it was $3.50 at the time. Magazines weren't that expensive back then. What was the year on this one? This is issue 4. I think it's still 88. But, yeah, I just remember getting this magazine, and I went home, and I can't remember. There was like a weird, I'm trying to think of something weird going on about this particular issue. Oh, I remember what it was. I know it. I'll get to it. I know what it was. Wasn't that crazy, but, what do you call it? What were they called? What are these two girls called? The Soul Patrol. That's right, the Soul Patrol. That stuff was so cheesy. Dementia. I didn't like Dementia. I just didn't like her character. I just thought it was a little crazy. There's Hollywood. Still not wearing the right outfit, but still it's Hollywood. There's Najichka. Oh, that's right. I think, and I'm not 100% sure, Tanya? I think, if I remember, I think Tanya took over for her, kind of replaced her. I can't remember. Either she left the show for some reason, or I think she went over to POW, but they had another Russian girl named Sasha in POW. Veteran Notch introduces a new protege, Tanya, a Soviet Army major. I don't know why they had to be Army people, but it's weird. I guess it was the 80s. They were obsessed with paramilitary, everything. She could have just been a Russian wrestler. But anyways, that was her whole character. I think it's true in the TV show. I think she came up with the character herself. I don't know if that's 100% sure true. So I think maybe they wrestled together. I can't remember. Or she ended up taking over for her. Like I said, gotta give pause and reverence to the outfits. The other thing is the wrestling in it the ring was weird too. The ring wasn't like a regular wrestling ring. It was like literally like, it's either they put it together. I think like POW had a real ring, but that's the other thing that was weird. It's like, why does the ring seem like I put it together? And not just that, but it just looked like it wasn't a real wrestling ring. They just kind of built something that looks like a wrestling ring, which I think what they did, because it seemed a little bit bigger than a regular wrestling. The ropes weren't as high. It didn't seem like somebody knew how to, it didn't look like an official wrestling ring, which is always kind of weird in it. And when they would wrestle, a lot of the times, because they literally just shotgun mentality. They learned, they cut their teeth while they were doing it. A lot of the wrestling was just like so bad in comparison to watching the other stuff with the dudes, and even the other female wrestling. Some of the wrestling was just so bad, but you didn't really care. Not like nowadays. Nowadays, the girls are doing crazy stuff. I would say they're probably doing more crazy stuff than the dudes do now. It's just mind-boggling, some of the stuff that they do nowadays. Yeah, they weren't doing any of that back in G.L.O.W. G.L.O.W was pretty rough. But, Jackie Stallone. Man, I remember that. This is getting into. I remember the ref. Kind of looked like weird, short, stubby version of my Uncle Bob. I wasn't once this the second and third CD. Right around the time this cast was around, I wasn't really huge into them because, like I said, as you can see, some of my favorites are gone. I mean, they still have Hollywood. I think Vine left, I think, at one point. And then you got these other girls. Palestina, or whatever her name was, Palestina, she left. I liked her too. She left. She was in POW. What's her face? The first farmer's daughter. She ended up leaving and going to POW. And then California Doll. I would say my all-time second favorite of the girls was California Doll. She's not pictured there because she left. She went to POW, and her name was Malibu there. And she went there with the other girl, and they became the Bombshell Blondes. There's Hollywood outside the Roxy. It would have been fun to be there back in the day. Be a part of that, even just being in the crowd. Let's see. Down and Dirty. I didn't like the Zelda character either. I wasn't a big fan of her. She was one of the other wrestlers. I think they just had her done up. I always thought it was. I guess it's not Dementia. Dementia was a different girl. Yeah. These two were cool. I like these two as well. When they became like the old Jewish ladies, basically like the Golden Girls. I didn't like them, but when they were these two girls, I can't remember what their names were. I always thought they were pretty cool looking. It was like heavy metal chicks or heavy metal punk, spiderweb, Kiss. I mean, they pretty much look like Kiss girls. Yeah, look at. I mean, even with all this makeup on, you can still tell she looks different than her. And I mean, obviously the crazy makeup's not like regular makeup, but yeah, even when they're all done up. Oh yeah, this was the reason I got this was Um, I remember just drawing this picture of Hollywood. It came out real good too. It actually looked like her too. I was like, oh, I started to really get good at drawing likenesses of people. Then I started drawing like likenesses and trying to get down like likenesses of everybody really well. Nowadays, everybody just uses AI, but you know, it was hard. You had to do that by hand. You still have to do it by hand if you want it to look right. Yeah, this new girl, I vaguely remember her. Like I said, I started watching POW after this. Godiva. I wasn't a huge fan of Godiva. I didn't mind the character, just her costume was just... She was a little thicker girl, too. You know, not as thin as the other girls, but that wasn't why I didn't like her. I just didn't like her costume. I just thought it just looked weird. I mean, obviously, you know, they played up that angle to it. But yeah, I just wasn't a big fan of her costume. Is that what I want to talk about? This issue was drawing Hollywood. I thought there was some other weirdness in this issue, but I'm not seeing anything that's ringing a bell. And more good. Yeah, see, like a weird costume. I don't know. I liked it. Maybe it's because she's supposed to look nude or whatever. Because you know, Godiva is naked on the horse, and she would come out on the horse, but it just didn't look right. I thought that the contrast with color of an outfit looked so much better. She had a pretty cool costume though. It had the singlet with the one arm, and then had the hammer and sickle on. You know, obviously just painted on her collarbone there. I always thought that was pretty cool. Oh, and then this girl. Yeah, that's the other issue. I didn't have this crazy like Road Warrior-esque girl. I wasn't a big fan of her. I think she could have been cooler looking if she was just a little bit better lady. Oh yeah, when the two rock and roll girls, or the two like crazy Kiss girls, they ended up becoming these two girls. It's like, oh, what are they doing? Obviously, it was somebody's idea, and it wasn't a good one. Yeah, she went from this to this. What? And there's the yes, that was the other one. She wasn't as good looking as the other girl. I just did not like this character. She's actually not a bad looking girl if you look at her face, but yeah, the character just, like I said, I think she was somebody else at some time, and then they changed it up. That's, you know, that was a wrestling gimmick they used to do all the time. All right, let's see. We got another time for another magazine. Let's do. Let's go towards. I like towards the beginning more. Of course, it's got those girls in it again. Let's go to one maybe we haven't seen yet. All right, I don't want to go towards the beginning. Let's look at this one here. I opened it up in the wrong. Sorry, wrong program. Go to here. I don't know why I opened it up in my clip paint, because it's right next to it. That's why. Let's close clip paint. Okay. All right, let's see here. So this is issue 5. Yeah, issue 5. Yeah, still the. Like I said, I think she only had that outfit, and then Vine had her outfit. I think the specific ones from the very first season. I don't think it made it too far with that. I don't know why. It was their best outfit, I think. Bunga Bunga Bunga. Yeah, there was no apologies for at the time for the very racist and all of them did it. I mean, they're all, even the guy wrestling too, they're all notorious for having some pretty outlandish characters that were fun, but I mean, you look back in retrospect, you're like, woo, this stuff wouldn't fly today. You know, but back then nobody cared about that stuff. Nobody was that uptight about things. They knew it was a gimmick. They knew it's just a fun thing. Nobody took it seriously. I mean, if you took G.L.O.W. seriously back then, you had more issues than worrying about whether or not a character has a racist slant to it or not. Oh yeah, these girls. Yeah. How did they go from those cool rock chicks to these girls? I don't know whose idea that was, but that person should have been eliminated. And maybe it was their idea. I don't know why. I'm assuming because they had makeup on, now they got weird makeup on. I'm assuming they just didn't want to be seen. They wanted to, kind of stay somewhat incognito so they could, not be associated with this. That's not either one of them. There's the good outfit she had. What do you call it? That's the farmer's daughter. There's two farmer's daughter. Okay, I remember them. But the other girl, too. I don't know where she's at. She's the one that went to POW. Yeah, she had the other outfit on. It's not. She was. I really liked Hollywood. Her crazy hair and stuff with all the crimped stuff and the stars and all that stuff on there. It's like I say, it's just she had a certain look to her that just reminded me of that one girl. Reminded me of somebody else too. I can't remember who. There's a craziness going on in the ring. Yeah, see, unfortunately, we got this nice full color pictures of them, and they're in the wrong outfits. I mean, technically, I think Vine misses a little bit more revealing of an outfit. Her other one was pretty, because her tights were like gray, and she had like a striped leotard on it, and it almost looks like this is the same leotard that Hollywood used to wear, just a different color. But it was definitely, this is a more revealing costume for her. Actually, technically, I guess this is more revealing for her. But I liked the full bodysuit thing she had on. And I like the color contrast better than this. I just don't like this. I'm not a real, it's funny about lingerie and stuff. Oh, women like the lingerie. They think the men like it. Oh, maybe some men do. I think this is more attractive, like the workout suits and stuff and the aerobic stuff. I think that looked more in like these leotards. I thought those looked more attractive than like the lacy lingerie. There again. Some great pictures of them though. And then this character, another large lady. Although I think she lost a lot of her weight, because in the one video they show her she's older and she's really thinned down. So she lost a lot of the weight, and she didn't look like she was doing too bad. Again, see, she went into her old age going, you know what, I can't stay heavy like this or I'm going to die young. But because Mount Fiji is, she is Samoan, and I don't know if you know anything about that whole culture or whatever there, but those people in that area, they're always notorious for being like grossly obese because of their diet. There's more diabetes issue. I think that's what she had, is she had diabetes. Diabetes issues. It's just inherent to that particular race. I think, is it race? I can't remember. Is it because? Yeah, I think it's race. I forgot what differentiates. Yeah, because like Asian is a race, right? If you're from Japan, you're from China, but there's different Asian like sub-races, I guess, where they have vaguely different features. And obviously that that whole South Pacific area kind of is offshoot of Asia. Of course, if anybody knows, how everybody came over from Asia across the land bridge and went down to South America and Mexico and populated the whole area. So that whole race, so the Hispanic race into it itself down there is all a combination of a lot of different races, commingling over centuries. But yeah, anyways, she because of her nationality, I guess race, I don't know what it is, but yeah, like so they're I don't know, I was reading somewhere that they said that like they figure like, oh, who's the most obese, who has the most amount of obesity, what country, And you'd think, oh, it's got to be the United States because we eat like shit here. It's actually not. I can't remember what the exact island is in the South Pacific, but that whole area like has the most, obesity. But yeah, as I said, she ended up losing a lot of weight when she got older. Big Bad Mama. Was it Big Bad Mama? Big Bad Mama. I think that's what her character's name was. Is that Little Fiji? She doesn't look the same. Is it a different Little Fiji? Because the other Little Fiji looked very different in the face. The other Little Fiji looked more Polynesian. Polynesian. That's what I was trying to think of. What do you call it? She looks more Asian. Again, sort of, like commingled, but it's definitely a different girl. I don't know. Is that her? Maybe she just changed her hairstyle. She made her look different. She looks different, like a different person, though. Spanish Red. They don't know a picture of Spanish Red. Spanish Red. She rocked the thong big time. She was pretty. She's been there since the beginning. Always played the bad girl. I think, yeah, she was a bad girl. I don't remember these two girls. They look like newer ones. Yep, she's got the pink. Oh, see, like she's got the pink on there. This is later on, so she probably still had it. She just kind of bopped back and forth. I don't know if that's her. It doesn't look like her. Her eyes just don't look the same. Correct me if I'm right. If anybody knows their G.L.O.W, tell me if there was two Little Fijis. They swapped her out for a different Little Fiji. Yeah, I guess we're coming up on the hour here. So, so those are the magazines here. Like I said, you can get these on. Just go to the archive, the Internet Archive website. Just put in G.L.O.W. They should all pop up. You can just download the PDFs, or you can just view them on that website. That's how I found them. I've been looking for them for a while. I didn't think about it, and then for some reason G.L.O.W popped into my mind, and I started. I've been watching the episodes, but it had been. I think the last time I went seriously seeking out G.L.O.W stuff online was like right around the time that second season of the TV show on Netflix came, and that's actually been a couple of years now. So it's been a few years since maybe more than that, since I was looking for G.L.O.W stuff. But now I went on and I found a lot more episodes. It seems like people are starting to put that stuff on there. Again, you can get some of these on DVD. I don't know if they have every episode on DVD, but I know there's a bunch of different DVDs and different releases, and I don't know which ones are which. They're all in volumes. There's one called like Early Years, so I'm assuming that's most of season 1. I don't know. I gotta go look and see. Unfortunately, I should look on IMDb. I didn't look on there. Should have went to the most obvious spot. Anyways. But I remember looking for the episode. I wanted to see like the season breakdowns and how many episodes there were in like the air dates for the original episodes for each season, specifically at season 1. So I'll probably do that. I won't waste your time here. I'll do that on my own. Maybe we'll do a G.L.O.W second one. Like I said, I found some power matches. I've been watching Malibu, which is California Doll. I've been watching her on Pow more. Tina Ferrari ended up going. I didn't really mention her too much, but Tina Ferrari was another big name, and she ended up going over to Pow and becoming just Nina. And I think she went into the WWE, I believe, eventually. Yeah, like I said, I really like this. When I think of the more of the late 80s, I think of G.L.O.W. I mean, just all the times my dad, lots of fond memories of me and my dad watching G.L.O.W, sneaking at my mom's house to watch G.L.O.W, not that I had to, I just felt like I had to. And it was one of those, this was like a guilty pleasure that I didn't share a lot with people at school, because I didn't think it would be, I thought you'd get made fun of for liking. It's like, you shouldn't watch scantily clad women. It makes you weird. Oh. You know what I mean? They're gonna make fun of you for being overtly heterosexual. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just more embarrassed. I don't think I really cared that the dudes thought so, because of course the dudes would never leave me alone about it if they found out. But I was just more embarrassed with the girls. I want the girls to know that I'm watching scantily clad girls wrestle. You know what I mean? because I didn't want to think I was a pervert, which I definitely have those tendencies. But you didn't want to come across as a creep even back then. I think I came across creepy enough for lots of other reasons. I didn't need to add that one to my to my list of creepiness. So, but and a couple of my friends, like my one friend, from Ruther, he watched it somewhat. He kind of watched it and kind of liked it, but he didn't really get into it. I was really the one that was really. I didn't have a lot of friends that were really even into regular wrestling. Wrestling at that time, for most of my it was a thing between me and some younger kids before high school. Liked wrestling, and then as I got I got older teen. It was me and my dad really the ones that watched WWF and all that stuff, and it was weird actually finding other people like out of high school that was still watching wrestling. I was like going, oh, I never knew you guys really liked wrestling. I really liked it back when I was younger. Now I don't really. After high school, literally WrestleMania 4, because I went to 3 at Silverdome. After WrestleMania 4, I kind of lost my interest in wrestling. I lost my interest in G.L.O.W by 89. Like I said, I kind of sort of watched POW. My dad was still taping it, and I would watch it periodically, but I just wasn't really into it. But I was obsessed with it there for a very short period of time. So I'm kind of going through the nostalgia of those old obsessions nowadays of the G.L.O.W stuff. Like I said, I'm still trying to track down. I want to try. I'd like to track down nice, good quality copies of all of that stuff, but that seems to be hard to find. Oh God, you can tell that she totally ripped this off. There's the darts and stuff. She totally ripped this whole costume off of from Road Warrior, from Road Warrior. All right, I'll let you go. It's been over an hour. I'll stop talking about gorgeous ladies of wrestling. But go ahead and if you like this stuff, let me know. I mean, like I said, you tell me all your G.L.O.W, whatever, all your G.L.O.W thoughts, all your women's wrestling thoughts or whatever. Fill up my content. Give me something to read. Give me some stuff to interact with people with. And again, like and subscribe if you like the stuff. And tell me if you want to see more. I'll go into more detail on this stuff. Obviously, I'll probably go over maybe some matches and stuff. I'm kind of getting back into it myself. Just, it's for fun. Like I said, I go through many phases. I'm always into one thing and then into another thing. Obviously, you can tell by my channel that I'm clearly suffering from, and have been for a very long time, of maybe not ADHD, but definitely an attention issue of sorts. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the G.L.O.W. Or do you even watch wrestling? Do you watch the wrestling with the new girls nowadays on WWF or NXT or even AEW? Do you watch any of that stuff? I got into it briefly, and I kind of got into it again. I go in and out of wrestling. And this is how I was when I was in the 80s. I would get in and out of wrestling. I would have I've been in the mood for wrestling, and then I got boring, or I just thought it was stupid. And then I'd get I like watching it again. So let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye-bye.